You'll never lose women chasing money, but you'll always lose money chasing women.
Yes.
Ooh.
So as a woman, how
so
do you feel about that?
Smobby!
Dream that got me on.
Starzy.
Oh, white family music. I'm going back to where I belong. You're the reason why I'm singing this song. But I did you no wrong. But you broke my heart.
Hi guys, we're Team Apple, I'm Yaba and we are Ghana bound. Today I have two other content creators, but we're not going to talk about content creation. We're going to talk about dating. So please introduce yourselves and your channel.
Hi guys, my name is Precious Hannah and my channel is Precious Hannah with one N. And I talk about moving to Ghana, living your best life in Ghana and just being the best version of yourself. And we also talk about dating, so this matches. Yeah, this is something that I'm into.
Perfect.
Nice. And I'm Joe, or Joannis. My channel is Authentic African. I talk about my move to Ghana, living in Sierra Leone, building a house in Sierra Leone, back and forth between there, my adventures around the continent. I recently went to Egypt. And so I just talk about my move from the US to West Africa.
We follow both of their channels and their journeys, so should you. It's well worth watching. Before you came from the UK,
Yep.
what were your thoughts about moving to Ghana, talking about dating specifically and meeting somebody?
I was ready to move to Ghana and find me an African king, like I tell you. Okay, and then I don't know, I guess I was just tired of Londoners. To the point where the accent, even though I have it, the London accent was beginning to annoy me.
This is interesting. I like
I was
this.
just like, I'm tired of you people. I was so set on the idea of moving to Ghana that I knew that if anything, I would find my husband in Ghana, I would want to get married in Ghana, and I always used to joke around, I have an obsession with Evers and Fantis. Like, I'm Fanti, but I also like Ever guys. And I wanted to make sure that my children, unlike myself, will be able to speak multiple Ghanaian languages, that being Fanti, Chi, Ga, Ever, if their father happens to be Ever. If not, Fanti is a must. Chi is a must, Ga is a must, English, even if they want to speak French and all of that. But they should be able to speak multiple languages.
Hey, your children.
Yeah, I know,
They
I know.
prepare themselves.
I know. Yeah, God, it's all in your hands.
How about for yourself, Joe? So when
Yeah.
you come from the US, whereabouts in the US are you from?
So New York, and I spent the last 4 years before the year of the pandemic in LA.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as clear, for sure. I came more with the idea of career and life change, and then the rest would come. My mom always says I'm married to my job. That's the thing that she always says. So yeah, I didn't come expecting to find my African queen, although everyone would say that to me, like that's where you're gonna find her because you haven't found her in the US. And I realized that it's more likely, for sure. My dating experiences have been a lot more aligned with where I am and where I'm going here than they were in the US. But I didn't come with that in mind, to be honest with you. It was strictly focused on business, and I just knew the rest would come. There was a saying from Anchorman, which is probably not the best movie to quote, but it was such a good saying. It was like, you'll never lose women chasing money, but you'll always lose money chasing women.
Yes.
Ooh.
So as a woman, how
so
do you feel about
profound.
that?
Can you say it one more time? I need my brain to like register.
You'll never lose women chasing money, but you will always lose money chasing women.
And in Ghana, that is like facts upon facts upon fact. Like, not even Ghana, just Africa. Because, I mean, it's hard out here in these streets. You need money to survive. And I feel like a lot of women here as well, my subjective opinion, please don't come for me, but you know, in this African society, we're used to having that, like, the man is the provider.
Sure.
So, you know, everyone kind of wants to be with a stable man that has money and is chasing money. But, like, visible money, not the idea of money.
100%. Yeah, I would say my experience, and it's not just here, and you know, meeting people who are Nigerian here in Ghana, spending time in Sierra Leone, because that's where I'm from, Sierra Leone, my family's from Sierra Leone, and then being here in Ghana as well with Ghanaians, there is, I think two things are coming together at once. There's a very traditional way of living, a traditional sense of values all over West Africa, right?
Yeah.
But then there's also the new age way where you have like rappers and Afrobeats artists, where once they have a little bit of cash, they like to spend it, even like in early dating stages before they even know the person. And so that becomes an expectation. So I think it's a little bit of both. There's the idea that the man is supposed to take care of a woman, right? Because that's the way traditional relationships and families have worked. But then there's also this idea of how musicians do things and athletes do things, and that's expected to happen in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
I've been called cheap so many times, you have no idea.
Stop it, really?
Oh yeah.
For what? But for
because
doing
I
what?
because I won't do the extras, like just give extra money. Like of course, like if we're going to dinner, I'll like pay for the Uber to come to dinner and things like that. But like, you know, after like a week or so, there's like my younger sister has school fees, or I have school fees, or my dad's in the hospital. There's always something.
Yeah.
That's
this
a
is
thing.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because where did that narrative come from? That as a person dating, or even just the first date,
Yeah.
or 2 dates, that you are expected to then give that, or otherwise would be called cheap.
Yeah.
Where did that narrative come from?
I think that's newer.
think
I feel like there was
social
always the
media.
idea.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
When you said it, it reminds me of those old school Niger, Ghana movies that we used to watch growing up. And it was like, you know, you have that Oga, that boss that will
Yeah.
come and save the day. Like
Right.
he would come and be like, oh, you need my, oh, okay, here you go. And it's just like throwing it like what you're saying. But
Yeah.
then it's like, it's a glamorized idea. But
Yeah.
then you have to think about it in a real sense, where I think about it like this. Well, one, I wanted to clarify that I didn't come to Ghana thinking that, you know, like with the relationship thing in mind. Me, I was
Right.
coming to do my master's, and I mean, as a girl, you know, it's like romance. Like,
Sure,
I
I
am
get
a
it.
hopeless romantic. Like, I knew it was bound to happen, but it wasn't the forefront of me coming here.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, backtracking to what we were saying,
Yeah.
it's this glamorized idea that that's how it's supposed to be. Like, you know, you get this guy and he will come and save you, and he will come and bring you nice things, buy
Sure.
you nice things and all of that stuff. But then you have to remember that we're all in the streets hustling together. The same, I know there might be a thing where, you know, men make more money than women and things like that, but
Absolutely.
we're all, if you're in the same like job environment, you're probably taking home the same. So, and if we're the same age, how are you expecting the guy to all of a sudden just appear with a bunch of money to just give to you?
Yeah.
That's one thing I've never quite understood. But hey,
American though, you know, I come with the American accent, so the expectation is you come from America, you come with money.
yeah.
I've talked to so many locals, and that's their viewpoint, right? I mean, in Sierra Leone, they call us JCs, just come.
Just
Oh
come.
yeah,
You just come,
I
like in Creole.
Nigeria called it "I just got back."
Yeah.
They'd call it "I just got
What do
back."
we call it in Ghana?
Boggers, I guess.
Okay.
Like, yeah, boggers.
Yeah, so you get a JC, and the JC is because a lot of people do come, and they like, because it's not as expensive to like throw around money in West Africa as it is in the U.S. So a lot of people come on their Christmas breaks, and they spend exorbitant amounts of money.
Yes.
And they show off, and so the expectation is that if you meet an American moving here, they're going to be like that year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never been that, or not since 2008. Since I learned from the financial crisis, I'm not like that anymore. But at one point in time, I was, but I'm not like that anymore. And so-
So that's my next question. When you first came,
Sure.
your dating experience, more Ghanaians or more diasporans?
More West Africans.
Oh.
I was attracting Nigerians mostly, it seems.
Hey, go you.
That was interesting because, you know, they're expensive, right? So
Shot spot. I feel like that.
no. I mean,
Yeah.
look, I think it's something that we are aware of. Is like in their culture, men are. I mean, I think that's what has like a lot of other West Africans feeling the same way. Is that men tend to be more generous with their cash. Nigerians, from my experience, friends of mine who are Nigerian always pick up the tab, and even when they're out on dates, they go above and beyond, as far as I understand. So, I think that is something that got misconstrued because they thought, well, maybe you're like an American who comes here and spends their money.
Yeah.
And then also what I hear too is that a lot of Ghanaian men aren't as generous with their
Stingy,
cash
apparently.
as Nigerians, let's say, or like diasporans. So, but yeah, most of it has been West Africans, but some diasporans as well. It's, you know, I would say this, I spend so much time working that most of my dating has happened through apps, and
Yeah.
most of the women that I met on the apps have been local women.
Okay, and
Yeah.
please give me one or two of these apps.
So I use Bumble and Tinder.
Okay.
Bumble and Tinder.
Bumble is here, and the difference, for those who don't know, Bumble, the woman has to approach the man, at least just initial communication, and you have 24 hours to respond, or the match goes away.
Okay.
And if you both like each other, you have 24 hours for them to message you. And so what I like about Bumble is that it shows the woman is actually interested, because she will go the extra route of actually saying something. On Tinder, you could just swipe when you're bored, which is something most people do, right? And
Okay.
so they're like, oh, I just like that picture, and swipe right,
Sure.
but don't necessarily communicate. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's been dating apps, which I didn't expect. But one thing I did before I moved here was I set my location to Ghana so that I could kind of see. And so I actually met some women on the app before I came. So we had like a little bit of like a rapport. We'd spoken on the phone. We had FaceTime, all that kind
That
of
is so
stuff.
interesting, because people who are outside now planning to come in, thinking about dating, they can
Yeah.
actually get a head start, actually meet people before
Yeah.
you even come. So that's a game changer. The internet's
Yeah.
changed a lot of things, actually.
Yeah.
How about for yourself, Hannah? Like, so when you came, how did you meet people?
Well, if you can't tell already, I'm a talkative, and I was in school and I go out a lot, and it's not hard for me to like meet people and make friends, and that's the joy of Instagram as well, because honestly, I'm like trying to think about it and I just don't know. I just know that I was in school, I was always out and about,
Yep.
meeting people, and I just made a lot of friends. And in the process, I would meet, like, let's say I would have you as my friend, and then we're just friends and we're chilling.
Sure.
And then like I meet one of your friends, and then your friends might like me and I might like them, and then we start talking, and it was like things like
That's
that.
very easy here.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it's very
networking,
easy.
The events, there are so many. And you mentioned that
very
you're
easy.
so busy. You're married to your work, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the difference is, where you are not having that social getting out life. However,
Right.
you can still use the internet.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
optimize my time, right? So we were talking about this earlier, but 10% of my time is left for food, sleeping, and social life. And so if that's all I have to try to figure out when and how to cram that in. So every once in a while I go out with friends, but most of the time it's digitally, and then I go out, right? Find the time to be
Yeah.
able to meet up and go out.
Question. In fact, you might want to, might actually ask you this. So as a was single, because you're no longer single, she was single when I asked her to do this episode. She's going to met somebody, so I'm going to kick her out. But let's put your single mindset back in for a second.
Yeah.
So hearing a guy who's that busy, how would you feel about that if you, let's say, met him?
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna put all my laundry out there. Like, I was actually dating someone in Ghana before my current partner, and like this is what we used to fight about all the time. Because as I said, I'm a social person. I like going out and I like traveling as well. And in a dream world, I would like you to join me
Right.
and make time for me. But we were always arguing that he didn't have enough time. And then, I mean, at first, because I try and be very understanding, but then when it keeps happening and you keep making plans and keep getting ditched for work, it's like, oh, thanks. Well, clearly I'm that important to you. But here's the thing, because I was going to say, like, that's just my preference. There are some women that are just, they don't mind. They like the independence, they like the space, they like their guy getting money and maybe dash. Here's the thing though, this is where the money comes in, because as long as you're working and you're dashing her money on the side, then she's good sometimes. I get it, but you're working, I'm not seeing it, and then you're just leaving me, like, it's
So
hard
it's a
out here.
personal preference, I
But
guess,
yeah,
isn't it?
again, it's a personal preference,
Yeah.
because we are in a society or community where men, there's so many things, like these unspoken rules of dating in Ghana, like you said about the whole giving money, like, I don't know, girlfriend allowance, if you want to call it that, and these things here. But at the same time, there's this idea that I remember dating, in my dating shenanigans in the past, I'll be talking to a guy and I would ask him, so like, oh, so tell me about what you do. Like, I'll show so much interest in the work. And if you're an entrepreneur, I will ask you, okay, so how can we like grow your business together? And they're like, sorry, what? Like, what's happening here? And it's such a big deal. It's like, because no shade, but Ghanaian girls are not asking them those questions. Like, how can we build your social media presence? Like, and I've been told this, like, Ghanaian girls are not asking these questions. They're more like, okay, so when can you take me out? When can you send me Momo? Like, you know,
Right.
things like that. So it's very interesting. Like, I've dated guys and I'll ask them these questions and they're just taken aback and it's like, whoa, it's too much.
That's interesting.
And it's like, well.
And that actually brings the question I asked Joe to you. So, more Ghanaian guys or more African men or diasporans in your dating experience in Ghana?
I'm sorry, I like my Ghanaian men, like
Ghanaian
straight
men.
Ghanaian, straight point blank period. No, actually, just for me, I haven't met a lot of Ooh, wow. That's okay. Now I'm thinking about it. I haven't met a lot of diasporian men. I've met more women, and then we just become girlfriends and we hang out and we talk like you and I. And then, yeah, I haven't met much guys. Wow, I never really actually.
So for yours, it's been
Ghanaian. Yeah, it's just been Ghanaian. Yeah. Some of them, we have a thing. I have a saying. Some of them are exposed, so not necessarily that they've been to the abroad or something, but they just have, like, they're just more open-minded.
Sure.
You know, and have a bit more exposure to the Western world, and but not one-sided, not the glamorous side of the Western world, but let's say both the realistic and, you know, glamorous side of it.
Sure.
So yeah.
So let's talk about expectations. So,
Yeah.
Joe, when you came,
I would love to hear what you have to
I'm
say.
going in, but when you came to Ghana, in fact, you're traveling all around Africa. So let me not limit it to Ghana. As you're going around Africa, did you have expectations about African women?
Yeah, I mean, I already had a bit of an idea, right? So, you know, growing up my adult life in New York and in LA, I met a lot of Africans who have moved to the US, right? So you get a little bit of like the cultural differences with them. And then also coming to Sierra Leone specifically, and I came to Ghana once, but I've been coming to Sierra Leone, I think I was like 6 times in 4 years. And so I spent a lot of time here on the continent, so I had a bit of an idea. So my expectations, I think here were my main expectations. One was that I know that it's going to be a huge cultural difference because, especially in Sierra Leone, and I've learned it here in Ghana, people tend to move faster, right? Like in terms of like wanting to get married,
Absolutely.
those kinds of things. Like, and so, you know, I think that was something that I knew that I had to manage expectations. The work culture that I have coming from the U.S. is that I think when I dated in the U.S., most women saw it as like, all right, this guy is going to be a provider and would be happy that I was working. You know, because anytime they were around me, they knew my laptop was out, I was doing something, and I was always had ideas and things like that, and that always worked to my benefit. Here, what you were saying is that became a clash, right? Dating, especially dating locals. So I knew that was probably going to be a challenge. I didn't know how much of a challenge it was going to be. I also didn't know how much more work I had to do to generate half the income that I was making in the US. So I'm actually working a lot more now than I ever have. You know, I started a YouTube channel and all those other things that I've started since being here. More consulting work than I've ever done. So, you know, my expectation was that I was going to have a little bit of trouble with that. But I also thought that I was going to meet more diasporan women, actually, because I knew that was going to be more likely to be where I was going to have a connection. So none of my expectations were met in that sense, but there's a lot of disappointment in terms of the amount of work that I do. Like dating locally, that was a clash that I had. You know, it was actually pretty not so great ending to our dating situation because her biggest issue was that like all I ever talked about was work or like because she also created content as well. So also, you know, working to like spend the time that we spent together also creating content, but it felt like all we ever did was talk about work. And that was a big issue for her. And I was like, I just can't sit around and do nothing for 8 hours. I gotta shoot something. I gotta shoot something. You know,
I mean, it's a balance, isn't it? But then did you guys have how do I say, was the love for the content, like the creating, or was it different? Like, was it like for her, like this is business work, and for you it's business and passion?
Yeah, you know, I think for me, I just am a person that is willing to go above and beyond. I do what others won't, so I can have later what others can't, right? And so there's so many people though who aren't like that, right?
Absolutely.
So even if you want to build a huge YouTube channel, you're not willing to do what it takes to build that, right? And so that was the issue that I was having.
Guilty.
Yeah, you know.
Like he's preaching. Right?
I know, right? Like it was really.
You know, I was, because you know, success leaves clues. I'm a big person who believes in that.
The guy, but I hate doing that thing.
Because otherwise, I used to be like, hey, you're waving,
and I
like.
just don't like the whole sting and.
Yeah.
I hate it, but it's like.
I noticed, Ghanaians do a lot of, and then
Hello.
snapping.
How are
I hear
you?
a lot of snapping.
That's good.
Which
Please,
one?
my friends have it.
Super rude.
So someone was going to me in the gym, and I was like, how dare they?
Right. I had more of a social life there, but you know, when I got here, it's so much harder to make money here.
Yeah.
Well, at least enough money to survive.
That's why you know my struggle.
I know the struggle, and I'm glad you're talking about that because it's about managing your expectations when you come.
Yeah.
We haven't all picked up exactly how we were and just living that life here. We're not doing that.
But you know what's funny? That's why when people, I say I've been here 4 years, people are really shocked because people tend to leave after year 2, like the first.
It's the finances.
Yeah, because money is something very. I feel like some women might be intimidated by how your work drive.
Sure.
But in the beginning, like you said, it's very attractive because you want that. You want someone to push you at the same time.
Right.
Like
I've also moved on to dating, and I'm dating now a young lady right now who's Sierra Leonean, and that's where her and I clash too. It's the same thing, right? Culturally, the issue is that I work so many hours, and like, when she came to visit, she was at the house, and she saw it, like, she would complain about it over the phone, but then she saw it in real life, and she's like, I'm here with you, but I'm not really here with you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
do you compromise?
I would. We would go out on dates and stuff, at least 2-3 times a week, which is more than I ever go out at all, when she wasn't here. So we would go to like 2 or 3 times a week. We would go out a couple times during the weekdays and then on the weekends. But I think for her, it's just, she had just never experienced someone who spends 12 hours a day working on different things, right? But I have so many things going on. I'm building a house. I'm a consultant for 3 different incubators. I work full-time, and my full-time job is not a 40-hour job, just because there's not enough people who get paid enough to do the jobs that they do, so I have to do their jobs, or I have to micromanage them. So my job takes me 60 to 70 hours a week to do, and there's still a list of things that can be done. And then we have YouTube, right, where you guys know,
full-time job.
it's a full-time job.
But I do want to ask you, okay, now your current partner, sorry, I'm taking
Please,
yes.
I get to relax.
sorry.
Enjoyment.
But no, like, now I'm curious, would you want to date someone in the same industry as you, or would you prefer to like have separate, like you do your thing, I do my thing, then we come together and we can like...
That's a great question. I mean, ideally, I would want someone who is interested in doing content, because there's just always a better dynamic, and of course I want someone as ambitious as I am. So one way to help grow your business is to use social media to grow it. So she may not be a content creator, but may need to create content for her business, and that might be helpful for us to do that together.
I feel like you're waiting for a CV more than... So, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. So, are you a social media strategist?
Check.
No, but
Check.
Here's one of my closest friends told me that you should be picky. Like when you're dating, they're like, oh, maybe you should like open up your horizons. And yeah, please open up your horizons and like be open to dating and stuff. But when it comes down to it, be picky, because this is someone that love is not gonna take you like last forever. Like, let's be honest. I want to be with someone that I can look at. You can piss me off, but when I look at you and you smile at me, I am happy again. The world is right because I like you as a person. Yeah. So here's a case where I want to be picky. Like, if we're talking about business, but we're annoyed at each other, but we know we got money to make. Like, let's face it. These things. So I feel like it's very important for you to have all of these checks and stuff like that.
Right. And so it's gonna require having a partner who has very big goals so that we can achieve them together.
And it's amazing that you're open to that, because you're striving so fast and doing so much on your own right now. The fact that you're open and accepting that it will take the two of you to grow further beyond that is brilliant.
I'm ambitious, but I'm not that arrogant, to believe that it can all be done by myself.
So I want you to tell us an experience, a story of one of your dating experiences that you think would shock people.
So as I mentioned before, I use dating apps. So I met a young lady on a dating app, Tinder. She seemed really cool. I always FaceTime and everything first because pictures can be deceiving, right? And so, especially in today's world, filters are a thing, guys. Be clear, it's not just in the U.S. People use them here as well. And so it was really important to do a video call before we went on the first date. I always do that. So it was cool. We were vibing. We went out, and when we got to the place, I don't drink as much as I used to. I maybe have a glass of wine max, right? So my dinner dates are usually pretty cheap because I don't buy any alcohol. And she was like, I don't really drink like that either. But I think she was just saying that because I said that. So we both got a glass of wine, was gonna keep it classy, have a nice meal. I go to the bathroom and come back, and there's 3 shots of tequila
What?
and another glass of wine that she ordered.
Okay.
Yeah. So the meal ended up being like $120.
Dollars.
Yeah, here. I mean, I spent that, you know, in LA at like Prime
No, but you
112
have
or
to
something.
understand
But
that's like 700. Like that's like 600 cities
yeah,
on a meal.
It was
Come
it was
on.
over 600 CDs.
Nah, that's
it was
too
how
much.
much I pay my housekeeper a month.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That was on one meal.
That's
and
a
I
lot.
so I was like, and I wasn't expecting that, but she had been dating a lot of Nigerians,
You like to spend
right?
a lot of money.
Yeah, and I felt like she just thought it was normal, right?
How about yourself?
It was interesting because this was like someone I met through a friend, and everyone was telling me like, oh, he's a cool guy. Like if he talks to you, he doesn't really do girlfriends. You know, he's not like, he doesn't date around a lot. So if he's talking to you, it means he really likes you. And I was a bit gassed. I was like, oh, okay. So we were dating for about 6 months, and then it started going like, it was like this, and just went phew. Like he just started acting very shady. I went back to London to visit my mum, and we had all these plans. It was like, when I get back, you know, we're gonna do this. Black Panther was coming out, so we had like arranged a date. I went to London the first day. I spoke to him once. I was there for like 2 weeks. I spoke to him once. I didn't hear from him until Valentine's Day, when he sent me if you're on Snapchat and you know what a bit emoji is, yeah. He sent me like a bit emoji of him saying Happy Valentine's at like 7 p.m. in the evening, and I was just like, okay. And it was my mum's birthday as well, so bearing in mind, a lot of my friends had messaged me to say Happy Valentine's Day, because you know in Ghana, like Ghanaians do that. They'll, like, your guy friends will tell you Happy Valentine's Day, and everyone knew it was my mum's birthday, so I was also getting like Happy Birthday mummy messages and stuff. I didn't hear from this guy, and we had been dating like 6 months now, and then I eventually got back to London, Ghana, and he broke up with me by text.
What?
Because he couldn't be bothered to do it in person.
My final question is, what advice would you give someone who's now watching from in Ghana, outside Ghana, wherever, planning to come to Africa, about dating an African?
Okay, so I think it's really important to make sure that you manage expectations about how you move, right? I move slow. I don't make decisions that quickly when it comes to serious dating. I'm not going to move in right away. These things take some time. I think also you need to understand that you need to look at each person as an individual, right? So whatever is important to her, you need to learn that from the beginning. Sometimes that might be different from what you're used to living in the West, right? Sometimes it might be the same, but I think if you understand the things that are important to her, that will make your life a whole lot easier, because you need to be able to move according to that. And then I think the other thing is Ghana can be a little bit more conservative, right? So, you know, if you are not as conservative in terms of your belief systems or some of the things you do and how you act, that may pose some challenges. So just make sure that you're aware of that. And that you act accordingly.
I agree with everything you said, but from a woman's point of view, I would say be honest with what you want. Be straightforward with what you want. Don't feel like you have to do image gang, like present yourself a certain way just to get the guy. If you know that's not what you want and that's not what you can handle, don't go for that. Leave that guy to do what he has to do. Don't come and disturb his life. Be very open, be very honest. If you know you want something, if you know you're particular about some things, stick to that. Don't settle for less. Be your authentic self. That's very important. Also, don't let religious people make you feel like you have to do something that you don't have to. Like, for example, you come to Ghana, you meet this fine boy. You might get pregnant. Please don't force yourself to get married, because this is a thing that happens in Ghana a lot. Like, people are forced into marriages because, you know, a child has come into the picture. Don't put yourself under pressures that are not necessary. Do what makes you happy. Be with someone that makes you happy, and always stand up for what you want and what you believe in. And shine your eyes. Point blank, period.
So guys, please don't forget to subscribe to their channels. I'll put the information down in the description box. And this is an open discussion. You are part of our group. So please write your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to us in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the family, and see you in the next one. Bye.